Welcome back to another episode of the Life Insurance Academy podcast. We are doing another unscripted live interview today with one legend in the business. I would say legend. And we're in the Secure Agent Marketing Studios in Springfield, Missouri, the mecca of insurance in the world. No, it's soon. It's fastly becoming.
Yes,
fastly becoming. And we are here joined by a special guest, President and CEO of Secure Insurance Group, Mr. Brian Askins. Welcome to the podcast, Brian.
Well, thank you. It's great to be here. I appreciate the opportunity.
Chris, why don't you
We're
lead
excited.
us out, man, on what this format's going to be like today for our listeners?
So, Brian, this is kind of a new format for us. We're just four guys hanging out, having a conversation, and we generally have a topic that we're going to discuss. And sometimes it got a little hot last time, man. There was a little fire that came in last time.
Yeah.
So we'll see where it goes. But our topic today, we're going to be talking about competition and why it matters, why it's important.
Competition in sales, competition in business, and how you can apply those things to your practices, your setup, so we can help you win. So,
Absolutely. Now, the thing I know, Brian, you're probably not a very competitive guy. Is that true, or is that not? That I'm guessing that's not true.
I'm very, very, very competitive. Probably to a fault.
Okay,
So,
yeah.
Probably to a fault.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit
Man,
about.
he hides it so well.
I know it,
He
man. I
hides it
know
so
it.
well.
I know it.
Like, you don't know it, but under his button down, he's got his jersey on right now.
Where did you first see that? When did that first come out?
I played sports all my life, and I absolutely just hated to lose. I mean, losing hurt, and that just continued. And I don't care if we were playing home games at the home. You know, I had a problem with losing, and so I was way too competitive. So I just I'm a much better at it now, but I haven't lost one single
Much better
ounce of the
at
competitive.
games
what sport?
or losing.
What sport?
Well, just anything. As far as like, it doesn't matter what the game is. I've always won. I just had to win.
Yeah.
And
It just had to happen.
had to win.
Can you tell?
And so I've always been very competitive. And but and I don't play the sports as much anymore. Very, very little now. And but I just taken that competitive spirit from there over into the insurance world. So into the business world. So.
That's very cool. And I think, like this competition thing, I think there's a lot of people who would feel that way. Like they played sports, they had this competitive drive, and somehow life has happened and they don't realize that they can continue carrying that with them. Like now, obviously you're such a competitor, but when did you see that transition into your business life?
Well, at Reliable Life, which was my first insurance career, I was there for 7 years.
Who's that?
Reliable Life.
Reliable Life Insurance Company.
Reliable Life Insurance Company, which is a small debit company. And, to be Rookie of the Year, you get one shot. You get one shot and one shot only. And so in 1991, it was me and another guy was head-to-head. I mean, we were within just dollars of each other. Didn't know what he was going to get placed, I was going to get placed, because you had to be placed by the end of on December 31st. So on December 31st, I got a policy in the mail. I had to go deliver, but I had to get the guy's signature. I had to pick up the check, et cetera. So I called the wife, and the wife says, "Brian, he's not here." I'm like, well, "Where's he at?"
So you just went home.
What do you mean he's not here?
I'm like, well, where's he at?
What do you mean it's December 31st? This got to go in today.
He's got to go in today. And I said, "Where's he at?" And she said, "He's on a riverboat in Memphis." And I said, "Riverboat in Memphis." And so I said, "I'm gonna call you right back." And she's thinking I'm half crazy. So I called
Now, where
her.
were you then?
I was in Wynn, Arkansas.
It's a different state.
This was a little over an hour drive to get to where he was at.
Okay.
And because he was in Memphis, he worked on a riverboat. And so I called Reliable, and I'm like, "I've got a client that I need to place this case. He's on a riverboat in Memphis." And I said, which is obviously borders Arkansas in Tennessee. And I said, obviously I was only Arkansas licensed. I said, "Can I go place this case?" Because, compliance has always been extremely important to me. Mm-hmm. And they're like, "As long as you get him to sign on the river, you can put Arkansas." That's what they told me. And so anyway, I
love how you called and asked permission for that.
I did.
That's integrity right there.
So I
That's an
drove-
integrity move.
Yeah.
And so I drove to Memphis, Tennessee, and I get there, and the riverboat had already went out. Because I asked the wife, "Well, what time's the riverboat go out?"
The boat's gone.
I'm like, what time's the boat go out? And she says, "Well, it goes out at 1 o'clock." And I'm like, and so I'm trying to get there before 1 o'clock. I don't get there before 1. And so I get there, and so I'm asking guys, and I can't remember the guy's name now, but let's just call him John. I said, "Where's John at?" And so he's out on that boat out there, and he's pointing at the boat. And the boat.
Could you see the boat?
I can see the boat. The boat was headed down the river.
So was your rookie of the
Is
year.
this like a casino boat or?
So was your
It was
rookie of the
It
year.
was a riverboat where they worked on. I'm not sure what all they did, but it was a riverboat that they had a lot of people on this boat. So anyway, so I'm like, how can I get to that boat? And the guy's like, swim, I guess. And I'm like, well, tell me how I can get to this boat. He's like, I have no clue. He said, there's another boat going out, but it's going to be, in a few hours, another boat's going out. And I'm like, I've got to find a way to that boat. And so he says, I don't know what to tell you. So I start asking everybody. So finally a guy says,
It's an incredible story.
Finally a guy says, he said, I'm going to that boat. He said, in about 30 minutes, I'm going to that boat. He said, I can take you, but I'm not sure how you're getting back. He says, because I got to stay out there a while. I'm like, look, I'll go with you. I'm going with you. And so anyway, about 30 minutes later, we get on the boat. I get on the boat. I get the guy's signature. The guy's just shocked as crap.
That he is.
That I'm on
Where
this-
did you come from?
Like I'm on this boat. He just can't believe I'm on this boat. So anyway, and I'm like, okay, who's headed back? And they're like, I don't know when, but they'll be going back.
You got to
So-
get this case played. You got to get
Somebody's
it
got to
in.
go back. And so anyway, so about another hour later, I get back on shore. So then I've got to drive to Jonesboro, Arkansas now, and which is about over an hour drive from Memphis to Jonesboro, and I've got to be there by 5 o'clock. Okay.
To bring this case in.
To bring this piece of paper in, with the check and with with the signatures.
I mean,
and
you
all that.
couldn't email it.
No, this is 1991. 1991. So
They didn't have e-app.
no
no
apps and all
turbo
that.
scan.
No turbo scan.
So long story short, so I drive to Jonesboro. I get there about 15 minutes till 5. I get the case
Holy cow.
placed. They get it called in, and that one case is the only reason I won Rookie of the Year. If I would have not have placed that case, I
We
would.
needed applause inserted right here.
I would have finished second place.
Insert applause track.
But
Applause track.
But anyway, and it's something to where if a person wants something bad enough, they find a way to get it done.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Oh,
They find a
absolutely.
way.
Yeah.
If you want it bad enough.
Yeah.
The problem is not many people want things bad enough. That's the
Man.
problem.
I want to know what the look on the other guy's face when you ran in that policy with fish guts
Well-
on it.
Well, he wasn't at
Fish
the office.
guts.
He was actually in a different state, so I didn't get to see him. I did get a phone call from him after he heard the story, and we talked for 20 or 30 minutes. We became somewhat close friends, or
Yeah.
not close friends, but we saw each other on trips and
Yeah.
stuff like that. So, but
Wow.
One
it-
shot and you took it.
you get one shot. You get one shot. So
It was kind of neat. We had our event. Brian, you were there, and we gave the Rookie of the Year award to one of our agents, and
For this past year.
yeah, for this past year. And you said some great words to him, and I thought, man, that is awesome. That is a memorable moment.
You felt
said
the
that.
passion in
I
it.
did. did. Yeah.
I mean, he stopped in the middle of his speech.
Yeah.
He goes, I want to call out Aaron. Congratulations on Rookie of the Year because
Yeah.
you only get one shot at that.
Yeah,
Well done.
that was big time.
That was cool. Very cool.
No, go ahead.
As I say, the thing I love about being competitive and competition is that some people associate that with a negative term, or you have to be nasty, or you have
Yeah.
to do negative things to win, or
Or
you have to
aggressive,
trash
or-
talk, and I relate to you in a lot of ways. Is like I'm very quiet. I'm big in sports. I don't like to win, and I don't like to lose in anything, and I'm pretty good at a lot of stuff, like cornhole. everything. So
He's competitive in cornhole.
I mean,
He's got another gear.
well,
Seriously, it comes out.
it's just
Up
a
till
focus.
2 a.m.
It's a
Throwing the
mental
cornhole.
focus, no matter what. Monopoly.
Yeah.
We could probably have some fun nights together.
Absolutely.
But it's all in
That's how we do
friend.
it.
It's fun, right? And it's
Absolutely.
exciting. And when you can have that competitiveness and you can do it in such a silent way, it's almost a harder dagger when you do win.
A bigger dagger.
When you don't have to say anything, you don't trash talk, but then you submit that app right at the last minute and you just kind of smile. I love that. I love that.
Well, I think you can be confident but humble.
Yeah.
And that's and that's what I always try to work. Kind of make sure I'm always very confident. I'm confident in whatever I do, very very confident. But I always try to be very humble at it too. And kind of another quick story is, I was a district sales manager for Mutual Hall for about 3 years, and did very 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 well at surrounded myself with a lot of great people. The reason we did well. So I finally got my shot as a general manager. At the age of 30, I was the youngest general manager in company history. and at the age of 30. So at the age of 30, I'm meeting with this. So they introduced me to the team. Okay, and there's, I don't know, 35, 40 people in this room. So I'm standing in front of this room, and so I tell the team, I'm like, team, I said, I'm telling you, team, we're going to the top. We're ranked 49th right now.
Out of 50.
Out of 50.
Out of
51
50.
or 52.
Wow, yeah.
We're
You were
at the bottom.
52 though.
We're at the bottom. We're almost at the bottom. And so anyway,
Did they believe you?
they did. But by the time I got done with this speech, they did believe me. So I'm
Because
like,
you told them the riverboat story.
well, I didn't tell the riverboat story. but one thing I did do, I said, team, I'm telling you, we're going to the top. I said, if you'll trust me, you'll believe in me, I can promise you nobody's going to pour into you more than I'm going to pour into you. And I said, whatever you've done in production, that's about to go up. And I said, I can promise you this. I promise you, we will be the number one agency in the company. And I'm sure people are laughing. I'm sure they're just laughing like crazy, And so every time we had a general manager meeting or anything else, and so I went to home office and I met with a guy by the name of John Haver. And so John says, he says, what are some of your goals? And I said, John, I've got 2 goals. Never to miss a President's Circle, which no one in history company had never not missed.
President's Circle means you qualify for the trip or whatever.
Which was the highest honor that a general manager had.
Okay.
And I said the second one is become the number one agency in the company. Well, and this was in August of 2000. I'm sorry, August of 2000. In December 2010, we were the number one agency in the entire company. Less than 10 years later, we became the number one agency. And then also, our agency qualified for 13 consecutive President's Circles. The only agency to never miss one from 1990 through 2013. Only agency not to miss one.
Boom.
And we never missed a single one. And you had to have a certain percentage of growth each and every year, et cetera.
Yeah.
And so that kind of, was I was confident, but I was humble about it, and then one last quick story. I know.
But before you get into this
Yeah,
last story, I have a follow-up question. Some people are confident in certain areas of their life, like sports.
Yeah.
Right. They may be great at Call of Duty. I'm going all the way in,
You got
right?
knowledge for that stuff.
Yeah, you can.
You can, believe it or
You may
not.
be great at basketball. You may be great at another area of your life. You might have been a great high school football player, right? And you remember, and that's why people call it the glory days, right? They look back, 'cause
Unfortunately,
that was the glory days. Like that doesn't have to be. But sometimes people have a problem transitioning the competitiveness that they had in this area to putting that same competitive drive into their sales and into their business. Brian, what would you say would be some good steps to take? Like, because, Coach Michael Burt, who's been on our podcast, who you and I both know very well, spoken into our lives and our businesses, he says that success, what's his success is the memory? No, confidence is the memory of success.
Yes.
Confidence is the memory of success. So, like, if they've had success in a certain area, but they're not translating that into the rest of their life, number one, why do you think that is? And what are some ways that they can translate that into a passion in sales and business? What would be some advice for those people listening?
I think I would say is just whatever you do it absolutely to the best of your ability. I don't care what it is. Just give it all you've got. And if you have a team, and one of the things like at Mutual, when I had that team that was listening to me for the very first time I was speaking to them, they could see that I had passion. They could see that I was confident. They could see that I was somebody that was going to pour into them. They could see those things, and it wasn't long they were believing those things, because before long, they could see the work ethic. They could see all those things, and I just believe, I'm not very seldom ever am I the most talented person in a room, very seldom ever, and but in a room there's very few people ever going to outwork me. In a room there's very few people who have more passion than I've got. In a room there's very few people that cares more than I care about other people and the success of others. And I just really believe if you help enough other people get what they want out of life, you'll get what you want out of life. We've all heard that.
That's right.
But it's a true belief of mine. And that's the reason that I pour into so many people. And it's just, I don't care what you do in life. I don't care if it's your marriage. I don't care if it's your relationship with your children. I don't care if it's, I don't care what it is. Give it your best. Make it the greatest thing in the world. and have the greatest marriage in the world, have the greatest relationship with your children, have the greatest agency you can possibly have, have the greatest relationship. Some of my greatest relationships have come from this industry.
Yeah.
But just everything you do it to absolutely to the best of your ability. If you fail and you've done everything you can, there's nothing else you can do. Chances are you're not going to fail if
Right.
you give it. We're going to find ways to succeed.
Mm-hmm.
And we are going to find those ways.
Just like getting on that riverboat.
Just like I was not losing that contest. If I got on the riverboat and then I lost two, I've
You
done
did
everything I
everything.
can. I get no regrets.
You don't take an L from that because you gave it all.
I've got all I can give. There was no regrets there. But I'm not going to go into something and have regrets at the end. That's what I'm not going to do.
That's really good, man. Not have regrets at the end. Do you see a difference between competing against like another person, or do you find that you compete against yourself, or is there an element to both?
I am competing against other people because there's certain, there are.
You want to be the best.
I do want to be the best.
Yeah.
And I want our agency to grow to be the best, to be the biggest and the best.
Mm-hmm.
And I've got true passion about that. But at the same time, I compete against other people. If they came to me today, I'll give them everything we've got. I'll give them all the pieces we have. I'll give them the seminar kits we have. I'll give them everything we have, and then I'll still beat them.
That was the best line ever.
I'll give all the
The slight pause is what set it off.
I'll give it everything I got,
And I'll still beat
them.
It's just because I think that we can be very friendly in this industry, and I don't think we have to.
Yeah.
I hope I don't have any enemies in this industry. If they do, they're not mine. They're not my enemy, and because I don't have any enemies in this industry, and I'll help them all. But at the same time, my goal is still to beat them.
The one thing I love about this conversation, and Zach, you alluded to it earlier, was there's this kind of ugly side to competition, or appears there's this ugly side, but it really comes down to the person and who they are, And the thing I love, Brian, is even that statement right there, you're willing to build up people and still beat them. Because I think some people believe you have to tear people down to
Not
get
at all.
ahead, especially in this industry, specifically in this industry, because you see it a lot.
There's only two ways to have the tallest building. You either build it up from the ground up and you stand taller than everybody else, you put the work in, or you chop the other tall ones down, and then you're standing and you're left the highest.
But then
You'll never see me
but,
chopping.
But
No, I
then
didn't
you're in a
think so.
field of people with broken homes and a
Right.
bunch of people that it doesn't matter anymore.
Exactly.
Because, it's. I've heard it said that if you build tall buildings, you will inspire other great people to build tall buildings with
Absolutely.
you, and you'll have a big, beautiful city of tall buildings. And so I believe that, Brian. But I do admire the fact I'll give them everything I got, but I'll still outwork you and I'll still beat you.
Brian, where does this come from? Like, if you turn back the clocks, like you're not just born and all of a sudden, like what at an early age, how was this introduced? Where does this come from? This fire, this conviction, this passion, this competitiveness?
And is it learned?
I could tell you real easily. My dad died when I was 5 years of age, so I was raised by a single mom. My mom remarried 4 years later, but my mom's always worked 2 and 3 jobs her entire life, and so I just learned an unbelievable work ethic from her.
Yeah.
I had a family full of individuals to where nobody ever succeeded much at a high level at all. Not much, and to where the majority of my uncles and so forth ended up in jail because of DWIs and just. I grew up in a lot of broken type homes. I grew up with the family tree, and I just wanted more. I didn't want that life to where everybody, they were heavy drinkers, smokers, and would always be in trouble. And grew up very humble beginnings. I mean, we had food stamps. I was getting free lunches at school, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I could tell you all the sad stories. I didn't want that life.
Yeah.
And so when I went to work for Reliable Life, and I was working in a factory before that, so this was my shot. I felt like this was my one shot.
How old were you at this time?
I was 19.
19.
And I went to college. I didn't graduate college. I didn't. And so I just, didn't have the money to go and so forth. And so kind of going through all this, at the end of this, when I went to work for Reliable, I came out of a chemical factory. When I went to work for Reliable, and every night I went home, I'd either be orange, yellow, purple, green, whatever color we ran that day.
Really?
My entire
Wow.
body. I would shower before I left there. I'd shower before I got home, and I had to shower before I go to bed, just because the chemicals all in your body.
Oh
And
my
if you-
gosh.
If you had white sheets on the bed when you went to bed, whatever color you ran that day, that's what my wife had to wash her sheets every day.
You just need to buy rainbow sheets and be done
just
with
buy,
it.
buy rainbow sheets, be done. Yeah. And so I got that shot at Reliable, and I just told myself from day one, I'm not letting this opportunity pass me by. This is my shot to actually make a difference, to get to make a and I married Patty at a very young age. I married Patty at the age of, I was 19, a month before I turned 20. We were very young. We had a kid, Cody, a year, 10 and a half months later after we got married. And so you got a lot of responsibilities.
Yeah.
And I saw other people just not be the husband they should be, other people not be the fathers they should be, and other people not take advantage of opportunities they should. I just wasn't going to be that person.
Yeah.
I was going to give it all I had. I was going to succeed, and I wanted a different life than what my family tree had developed in the past.
I love that. You said something important there. You said, I wasn't going to let this opportunity pass. And there's so many people that are coming in that are new, that are at other factories, maybe getting all kind of colors on them or this or that. And they maybe have heard of this, or maybe they're just checking out the podcast, or maybe they know somebody or friend or somebody that's in insurance. How did they know, or how did you know that this was the opportunity you wasn't going to let pass?
Well, I've been told how much money you can make in the insurance industry. I've been told that.
Has it panned out?
Yeah, just a little bit. I've been told how much you can make, and so anyway, and I kept hearing these numbers, and I'm like, okay, if they can do it,
I can do it.
I think I can do it. I can do it. And so anyway, I'm like, I'm going to make this happen. So when I got my opportunity, I came out of the gates in 1990. I would have been the rookie of the year that year, and I didn't start till April. But they would give it to anybody. You had to be a full calendar year, or they wouldn't give it to you. So in 1990, I was the rookie of the year by myself if they would have given it to me. But they didn't let me have it, so 1991 was my shot. But 1991, I sold 465 final expense life cases in that one calendar year, and that's how I became the rookie of the year.
465 policies.
In 1991. And so I didn't want that opportunity to pass. I just didn't.
Yeah.
So.
And to clarify, just so our listeners understand, that was final expense on a debit route?
On a debit route.
With no leads.
No leads.
No leads.
I've never worked a lead in my life, ever. So.
I got one. You got one final story to put a nice bow on this about competition, where it leads, and what it drives you. And it sounds like to me that if someone ever questions your work ethic or your integrity, or says you can't do something, like another level of fire burns in there. I think this last
he's
story.
about to come out this chair over here.
I think this last story is going to light it up. So
Okay, so I was with Mutual Hall for 17 years, and had a unfortunate breakup with Mutual. Anyway, I'll kind of leave it at that for the time being. Had an unfortunate breakup. So departed Mutual on February the 3rd of 2014. So 8 years ago this month. And so February the 4th of 2014, I started Secure Insurance Group. And the day I started Secure Insurance Group, we were in a little office right down here on Montclair Street, in a little 1,000 square foot office. I rented it on like the next week. It was real. I mean, this stuff happened fast. And so I was talking to, and I had 4 people that was on my team at this time, which was Cody, Ty, Dallas, and a buddy of mine named Sean Powell. So the 4 of us, and so I'm meeting with those individuals, and I said, guys, because I always like to kind of set the expectation on the front end. And so I said, guys, I'm telling you this. You watch this. I said, here's my goals. And I just built a 7,000 square foot office for Mutual, because when I started with Mutual, the office was 1,500 square feet. We had 7,000. Matter of fact, it's just right across the parking lot right there.
Oh, really?
And you can see it from my office. I see it every day, which I love. And so anyway, I told them, we will have a bigger office than they have. And I said, they're a Fortune 500 company, but our office here will outproduce that office there. And we have far exceeded them. I mean, it's not even close. When I left Mutual, we had, I over 40 people in this office, and again, this is the one time I have become kind of competitive to where you mentioned a while ago.
Yeah.
They've got 3 agents in there, three people in an office now. So, and because they thought that leadership didn't matter,
At that time.
Yeah.
Leadership matters. Leadership is everything.
Yeah.
And it's everything. So anyway, long story short is that I wanted to make sure that our office was not only bigger but more productive, and it's been a tremendous ride. I love it, and so
That's great, man.
There you have
That's
it.
great. What would you say to an agent who's maybe listening to this and they're trying to figure out their path? Can anybody do this? I guess that's my question. Can anybody do this?
absolutely. I don't know about anybody, but it's an opportunity.
Let's be real. I mean, being honest
maybe
about
not
it.
anybody. But here's what I love about it. I don't care if you have no college degree, if you have a college degree, if you have a master's degree. I don't care what level of experience you've had in the past. I don't care what you've done. If you come in and you take this job and this career seriously, and I mean you take it seriously, you have an opportunity to make the money that doctors are making, even greater. Attorneys are making, and they're going through 8 and 10 years of college to do these things. You have the opportunity with no college degree to make greater money than they've ever dreamed of making. And but it takes a fire, a passion. It takes plugging into systems. It takes surrounding yourself with the right people. There's some things you got to do. You can't do it alone. I've never done anything alone. Everything I've done, I've surrounded myself with tremendously great people. Every single thing I've done, I've not accomplished anything on my own. I talked about becoming number one agency at Mutual. It's because of the assistant general manager I hired, Sean Powell. It's because of all the district sales managers I hired. It's because of my support staff, Judy Baldwin, all those individuals. It's because of those individuals we were able to become that number one agency. We were a team that had one vision.
That's
and
powerful.
That was to become the number one. So if you surround yourself with the right people, the sky's the limit. I mean, there is no stopping you if you have the right team.
That's funny.
Can you tell he's passionate about this industry and passionate about winning? I think so. Brian, man, what a pleasure to have you on the podcast today. I know we're up on our time. If you've got any questions about winning, about competition, about getting connected to people who like to compete and win, reach out to us at lifeinsuranceacademy.org. You can message us. You can reach me, Roger, at lifeinsuranceacademy.org. You can message us on all of our socials at Life Insure Acad on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn. Connect with us, and we'll connect you to the right people that will help you compete and will help you win. Thanks, Brian, for being on today.
Thanks a lot, man.
Thanks for listening to another episode of the Life Insurance Academy podcast. We'll see you next time.